Imagine a world where you're not handcuffed by monthly fees to access the digital tools you need. AI is ushering in a new era of empowerment, a DIY digital renaissance, where with a bit of creativity and minimal coding know-how, you can craft custom online tools tailored to your needs. This isn't just about saving money, it's about shaping your own digital destiny. Today's discussion will illuminate how AI is making this possible, and why you might consider leveraging its potential to become a creator, not just a consumer. So let's start at the beginning. Can you explain to our audience exactly how AI is changing the game for creating online tools?
I honestly could not have put that better myself. The thing that I really want people to know is that you can use AI to build the software tools that you are paying money for. For instance, I was able to build a website that can write its own content. Go to benjaminspower.com to see the output of what that is. Now, that took weeks, and I don't know how to code. I'm not a coder. I've been working with developers and teams of developers and building products for years, but I do not know how to code, full stop. But really, with AI, I have been able to write a brief, tell it what I want. I want a website that will do this. Where do I start? And over the course of like 3 or 4, maybe 5 weeks, back and forth, copy paste into an IDE. Like, how do I install? What is an IDE? How do I get this code? How do I set up the server? What is this issue? What is that issue? I want a button here. Make the button over there. When I click the button, I want it to turn on the microphone. Like all of this stuff, I'm asking it and it's saying, yeah, here's the code. And I'm like, oh, where do I put that code? Well, put it there. Copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. Here's the error. Copy paste, copy paste. AI did that. This tool I'm using right now, I wanted a tool that I could talk to that would ask me questions. I could record, turn into blog posts, back and forth. I looked around, nothing existed. I tried to make some things work, couldn't get it working. So in literally one day, I said, ChatGPT, I want to build a thing that does exactly this. This is what I want. And it gave me the code. And I think we are on the precipice of people will not need to have a subscription to a service. They can build a very custom service specifically to get what they want, not go and pay $1,000 a month for whatever CRM that does everything when you don't need that.
Given your firsthand experience, it's clear that AI can be an empowering tool for non-coders to build sophisticated software solutions. You've outlined a process that, while time-consuming, essentially comes down to providing clear instructions to an AI and iterating with the code it generates. Following up on that, what would you say are the most important skills or resources someone should have or seek out before attempting to use AI in this way?
So for me, I was able to use my very basic but foundational knowledge on code and building products to build a product. My foundational knowledge is where I was able to add this extensive ability to now have a huge amount of additional work. I think it's really just down to understanding kind of what you want, like knowing I want to be able to do this, have a goal, and then think about, well, how would you reach that goal? Go to GPT and say, I want to do this. Now ask me questions about my skill set to align my skill set that can be increased with AI to get to that goal. Literally ask it to sort of define yourself and your goal and make it fill in the gaps. I've got to say again, I'm a beginner. I don't know how to code. And I've been able to now code products. Like I've built 3 tools. Three? Yeah, I've built 3 tools in like a matter of months from I can't code to here it is. I think it is, while I am kind of very, very early and I am really pushing it, it's not going to be long, I think, before people who have like a 3D printer, that type of person, will just be able to go on and describe what they want and there it is. And I think it's not long after that, 24 months really, where anyone can just say, I want a tool that does this.
It's quite impressive to see how your foundational knowledge, coupled with a clear vision and the strategic use of AI, allowed you to create functional tools without a deep background in coding. It seems that a key takeaway for our audience is the importance of starting with a goal and allowing the AI to guide you through the process, filling in your skill gaps along the way. Let's delve a bit deeper into the potential wider implications of this. Given the trajectory you've observed, what do you think the future looks like for tech entrepreneurs or small businesses when it comes to leveraging AI and building their own customized solutions?
So I saw recently on a podcast, there's a group of VCs and they were talking about how AI will change the way that companies move forward. In the near future, companies won't need to get huge 100-person teams. You could get a 10-person team leveraging AI and output almost the same. The numbers are not correct, but you understand what I mean. So a company will not have to raise as much money because it doesn't have a massive burn, which means VCs are not going to get as much ownership. People won't need to get as much money. You can do things on a shoestring budget. As a solo sort of founder, one person can now build the entire product. I mean, again, going back to what I've built, one person can build an entire software platform in a relatively short amount of time because AI is adding that additional layer of skills that one person doesn't have. One person may be a front-end developer, but not much back-end. AI, suddenly you're a full-stack developer. So I think the future for founders and startups, smaller teams, a much more broader skill set and ability within that team, and lower requirement to have to try and raise as much money. I think it's going to be harder for these startups to build tools for everyone in a future where everyone can build the exact tool they need specifically for their needs. Going back to what I've built with this tool here, I needed this, I built this. I don't need to pay a subscription for it. Why would I? I build it. And I think the subscriptions that we'll pay, not necessarily going to be to a tool to give me what I want. It's going to be to an AI platform that produces and hosts what I want, that I can communicate with and deploy. I think the future will be people are paying subscription infrastructure costs rather than service costs.
That's a profound shift in the startup ecosystem you're describing. The move from large teams and significant venture capital investment toward more agile, lean teams, or even solo founders, is revolutionizing how digital products are conceived and brought to market. The notion that individual entrepreneurs can become full-stack developers with the assistance of AI is democratizing technology development. Seeing this shift towards paying for infrastructure rather than service subscriptions, how do you recommend our listeners prepare for this change? What should they be focusing on now to be ahead of the curve when this transformation becomes mainstream?
If you're a founder, I would say make sure that the team you have has access to AI. So that could be in things like Copilot within the IDE platforms, ChatGPT, of course, the Teams subscription that they've just released. So I think enabling the staff that you have today and encouraging the use on a personal level, I think that just using something like GPT now to solve problems you have now, just experiment, just get in there and hack away at stuff. An analogy might be something like being a copy paste dev today would be something akin to like coding in binary. While you're using new libraries and new languages, it's still a very basic way of doing things. And over time, it's going to get better. So I really think the only way to be ahead of the curve is to just start trying stuff today.
To sum it up, the message to our listeners seems to be that now is the time to embrace AI tools in their workflows, to experiment, and to learn by doing, setting the stage for a more autonomous and custom-tailored future. Thank you for sharing your insights and experiences today. Before we wrap up, do you have any final thoughts or a piece of advice for our listeners?
I think your might have got a little cold there. I think, look, I'm going to be in a bubble. I use AI all day, every day. Everything I do is 80% now powered by AI. So I'm definitely seeing the world differently from a lot of other people. If I was to give advice, it would be don't believe the hype. Don't just do a basic input, get a whatever output, and then write it off as whatever. I think when you start really pushing the limits and understanding how to get that information out, you'll start to see, or I hope you'll start to see, the power of what these tools have and what they can do for you. A common issue people have is it's great, but I don't know what to do with it. And my advice is just start using it for everything, literally everything, and practice trying to get anything valuable out of it. Commit some time to it. I will guarantee you will start to see that this is an incredibly powerful tool that is changing the world. It will make 2034 an entirely new world.